Hello. Thank you so much for joining me today. How you doing? Why European cities are insanely well designed. Very intriguing YouTube title. I like it. This video is by Archive, link down below. Check them out. I'm very intrigued to see what he's got to say about the European cities. Hopefully, maybe it'll compare it to America. I mean, I guess I'll compare it to America. If it doesn't, let's do it.
Across the globe, there are more than 10,000 different cities that are all unique in their own way. While cities in the United States are dominated by cars, European cities are the polar opposite. This is because cities such as Paris are much older than American cities like New York, and the age difference has led to many interesting changes in the physical layout of each city.
I mean, okay, yeah. I've heard that American cities, are divided into blocks. And so you go to Europe and you're like, how many blocks away is it? That question doesn't make sense, apparently. Which I think might be a point for America. I mean, the blocks, look at the New York. It looks pretty easy to navigate. This looks confusing and I would get lost. Maybe that's just because I'm a simple-brained American. I don't know. But as far as the car-centric thing, yeah.
European cities are all...
It's kind of an unfortunate... I don't know. It shows you that technology is not always... Like, maybe it makes certain things more efficient in a way, but it makes us way less connected with the earth and way more, certainly more polluting and less social, less active. So it's like technology doesn't always bring us in a better direction.
Also known to have a lot of bike paths accessible throughout the city, something you rarely see in American ones.
And I'm not saying, I know that I can already see the comments. Oh, more efficient. It's obviously not a more efficient use of space. I'm just saying more efficient maybe in terms of traveling around a city quicker by yourself. Anyway.
But besides the...
I don't know, maybe that'd be interesting to see a study on that.
Drastic comparisons between cities across the globe, why are American cities so different? And why didn't they follow the European blueprint for building a city? When taking a look at a city such as New York from satellite imagery, you see a lot of horizontal and vertical lines crossing between buildings and intersections. This is known as the grid plan, or the grid method. Now, the grid method was the founding framework for American cities.
I mean, that makes sense.
And besides New York,
it's like Minecraft.
Almost every city in America has adopted this design choice.
It's like Fortnite.
By using the grid method, American cities were perfectly designed for both residential and commercial uses, since streets bordered buildings on each side. This can be visualized in a city like Los Angeles, where you can see the grid method being used for over 5 straight miles of streets.
Look at how tightly packed in it all is, even with the streets going through it all. Holy crap.
Well, this method...
That's actually, it's kind of funny. I mean, this is America, but as an American, I don't live in a big city, so I'm just like, holy shit. They really all cram into there. Here in Indiana, land is so cheap. People are spaced out. These are packed in like sardines.
Of city planning was great for commercial and residential uses. European cities had a different approach to city planning. When you take a look at a city such as London from satellite imagery, you don't see many grids at all, and you might not even see any.
Yeah, look at that.
In Europe, they did not use the grid method to build cities. They instead built radial-based cities.
I'd never heard that. Maybe that's stupid, I don't know, but I'd never heard that. That's actually fascinating. I kind of assumed they just kind of went with the flow. But okay, radial. That's sick. That is sick.
Now, it may seem that...
So what's at the center of the circle?
Radial-based cities are the exact
like the capital?
Opposite from grid-based cities, but that's not exactly true. A radial-based city is based...
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's the opposite.
...on a series of concentric circles that surround a traffic intersection.
Oh, these are those gigantic roundabouts you see pictures of, huh? They're at the center of the city. It's like a freaking black hole. It's like a black hole with the cars all getting sucked into it.
This can be seen all across...
It's not like that? Oh, okay.
Europe in cities such as Paris and Denmark. The design dates back to ancient times, but is still very useful in today's cities. But again, this is something you rarely see in
How
the
did I not know that?
United States, and there are many reasons behind this. For one, U.S. cities were designed for profitability, and the grid method allows as many homes and buildings to be placed in a certain location without wasting any space.
I mean, the grid method is seemingly like, I mean, that would be your first. It's not like a revolutionary idea, I feel like. It's just like, yeah, we'll make a grid. It's kind of boring.
It
So I'm surprised that this wasn't the default method.
also means that the city will be designed for cars, and not for walking or biking. While this method has worked for hundreds of years, it shows how European cities are better designed for residential use over commercial uses. But this statement is not 100% true.
That does make sense when he says it like that. Like, of course, the United States it will benefit the commercial uses over the residential. And Europe is the opposite.
While the cities are better designed for walking and bicycles, they still serve as a commercial use. Take this image of the Champs-Élysées, where there are large streets down the center and barely any intersections, something in contrast with New York City. Just by looking at these images, you can tell that the city was designed for walking, not cars. While there are roadways, walking was the priority when planning the city. Another key factor in play is land use laws
You know what the worst thing about American cities is the parking. The whole car-centric thing, honestly, in my opinion, it's not that bad until you go, oh wait, where do you park the cars when you don't want to be on the streets? When you've reached your destination in this tightly packed city, where do you all park? Because the cars are big. And a lot of times it's only one person driving that car. So every single person is driving a big car. You get 100 people in one location. That's a lot of cars. Where do you park them all? That's kind of the nightmare when you go to an American city in a car. Parking.
in US and European cities. For example, agricultural subsidies in Europe have persuaded farmers to not sell their land to developers, and instead continue farming on it to prevent large development projects from taking shape. This can be seen in Paris, as there are still small farms that surround the city, but compared to New York, there are no farms in sight. Land use laws have played a big role in
Yeah, it just economically doesn't make any sense to make a farm in New York, sadly. The land is just way too valuable to be. You know, of course you can make money off a farm, but you can't make enough money for it to be worth it off every acre, worth $10 million.
how cities have been built and developed all across the globe, and they are partially responsible for why cities are all designed in their own unique way. While cities are known for having large populations, new studies have revealed that cities across the globe are facing a population decline. Today, more than 55%
Ever since the corona.
of
I try to think of a way to say it without, getting flagged on YouTube, to be honest.
the world's population lives in urban areas,
I was seeing what year this was made. Yeah, 2022. People were flocking away from the cities.
and that number is expected to increase to 68% by 2050. Predictions show that people are leaving cities in hopes of living in more suburban areas. Now, this is being seen in American cities, and it's not necessarily because people are moving out, but just not moving in. European cities will be put to the test to see if they are closer to an urban environment due to their pedestrian-focused design. Since more of the world's population is looking to live in places with more open space and less congested areas, they may turn to European cities, where they were designed for residential uses over commercial uses. Throughout the next
It's really strange to me as an American thinking of a city being designed for residential. That's wild. A lot of times you go through a city, I'm like, where do the people even live here? Where do they live? And it's, in some random nondescript, shitty looking skyrise apartment building. But,
20 to
most of it's all just commercial stuff.
30 years, we will see how cities across the globe react to more people wanting to live
Sydney.
in the urban lifestyle. The grid plan
That wasn't Europe.
will also be put to the test to see if it's a reliable method of city planning for decades into the future. The model of the European city has been around for hundreds of years, and many countries have used it as a blueprint for designing and planning their own cities. Although
It
America
looks way more interesting than the American one, does it not? The American just kind of looks like a bunch of shipping containers. Like it's laid out.
was
I don't know.
different and decided to create their own blueprint for a city, they showed the world how a city could be built catering towards both commercial and residential uses. But for now, American and European cities will always stay unique, and showed how two methods of city planning ended up changing the world. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe if you enjoyed the video.
I did enjoy the video. Thank you, Archive. Check them out, link down below. I think it was pretty good. The grid versus radial planning comparison makes no sense. Okay. The more I see how pedestrian friendly I see European cities are more jealous. The more I see how pedestrian friendly I see European cities are, the more jealous I become. That was a hell of a sentence. You basically stereotyped the Europeans with the French example. I'm from Portugal and our policies don't help farmers keep their lands instead of selling it to huge developers. What happens here is just the opposite. This is just an example, but shows you how to be careful by stereotyping. It is difficult to, I mean, Europe is a big, extremely diverse place. So you certainly can't stereotype too much of it all at once. And the same is somewhat true with America. Less true, though. Less true. Europe is very diverse. Anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow.